Hello, Carrington is my name. I'm a product growth and marketing expert. I've been doing this for just over a decade, working across different industries, advertising, fintech, e-commerce, and currently ride-hailing, where I'm the head of sales and marketing at a ride-hailing company called SafeBorder. When I'm not doing that, passionate about digital marketing in itself as a discipline, and then also passionate about mentorship. I've been privileged to interact with creators on two fronts. First of all, as a consumer, as a customer, have my favorite list of creators, but then also heading the marketing function, making a decision on when to work with creators, whether to work with creators or not, and even selecting the type of creators we want to work with, and then measuring their input and output. So being part of this program allows me to be able to share that experience from both points of views. So how do I view creators as a consumer? What do I like? Versus on the flip side, as a brand, what is it that I'm looking out for? How am I able to predict or project return on investment, even at the interview stage before selecting a creator? So there are a couple of things that creators are going to learn through this module. And I'm going to split it into two parts. There's the business part, the expectations from the business, versus the creator's part. So essentially, when a business is thinking about working with a creator, they have a goal that they'd like to achieve, and they have some sense of conviction that a creator will help them achieve that goal. So for starters, we'll help creators understand how to define between or differentiate between business goals and digital goals. For example, if a business goal is a sale, how does that translate when you look at the influencer goals or the content creator goals? You might not be able to see a sale at the end of the day, but there's specific metrics, there's specific indicators that show you that there's a high chance you're going to deliver sales for the client. So that's the one thing they're going to learn. The second thing is how to plan and communicate their audience, their reach, their impact in a structure that a business can be able to interpret when they're looking for creators to work with. So oftentimes, I think some of the mistakes I've seen today is that when a creator is pitching or they've sent you a deck and a rate card, they only focus on the big metrics. So I have 100,000 followers, I have 200,000 followers, I have, 20, 30, 40 comments or 100 comments. But then when a business is looking at that, they want to understand, out of the 100,000 followers, what is the composition of that audience? Just from the basic demographic insights, how many of them are male? How many of them are female? What are their interests? Yeah, and those interests are what is directly related to the product or service that the brand is trying to sell. And then looking at engagement as a percentage of the total audience you get, as opposed to just specific metrics. And my advice has always been twofold. So if you're already a creator that has a lot of followers, then you need to ask yourself, what is it that's authentic about you? And for me, authenticity comes from something that you almost do naturally. An example is an influencer who loves cars and their content is centered around cars. Your customers or your audience can be able to see through the vibes and the fluff and actually see where there's genuine interest and authenticity. So if you have a lot of followers and you're trying to figure out how to monetize, you sort of have to go back and compass yourself to what is it that I like, what is it that I'm good at, what is it that I enjoy doing out of everything else that I'm doing on the internet, and then try to center your content around that. For the ones who are starting, much easier. So you start that process from inception. What is it that I'm good at? What is it that I'm passionate about? Not just about what is it that is trending right now, but what can I do for the next 10 years authentically, even when I'm 10 years older than I am right now. Because success when it comes to content creation or being a creator is that you're able to evolve with your audience. Yeah. So the same people who are buying the stuff that you're talking about that you use and enjoy when you're 20 should be the same people who are buying the stuff that you enjoy using and you're talking about when you're 40. It shouldn't be different. So for me, that's where the gap is. with the creator industry today. So how do you as a creator turn the current influence you have right now, the audience you have right now, into a sustainable business? So first of all, what does a sustainable business look like? In my opinion, if you're 20 years old today, the kind of influence that you have in terms of getting people to consume or purchase products and services while you're 20, you should be able to carry that all through to when you're 40 or 50. So how does that happen? It happens if your audience has conviction that whatever you're telling them, if it's a product or a service that you're using, they actually have conviction that you know that product very well and you actually are using it. So number one, directly tied to being authentic as a creator, just identifying what is that thing that I actually like and I enjoy doing, that if I was to do it for the next 30, 40 years, I will not feel like it's work. I won't get bored. It will come out naturally. So that is the first thing. Making sure that you as a creator are consistently working on something that is authentically you. It differentiates you from others. And it's all the way from what you're passionate about, what you're good at, to your character and personality. So oftentimes I see creators trying to mimic other creators because that's what worked for them, as opposed to doing the hard work of building a personality and a character just out of who you are. Second, the other mistake I've seen creators make in the industry has been, it's almost like wanting instant results and instant gratification. So you prepare for a project or a campaign with the aim of doing it, say, for a month or 2 months, and then just trying to get as much or the most that you can get from it. However, the valuable creator relationships I've seen with brands are when a creator co-creates with the brand, whereby you're actually thinking about, if I was to do this for 12 months, how would that look like? And what does success look like at each stage? So planning it from a milestone perspective, as opposed to sort of like a burst activity. So you show up, we do one video, promote it for a month, and then we're done. As opposed to, okay, this is what you're trying to achieve. This is how I think we can do it over the next 12 months. Because sometimes it just means building a relationship with your audience and correlating it to that brand that you're trying to influence. It could take a month, it could take 2 months, it could take 3 months, but then you start seeing real results when you've been doing it consistently for 12 months. So it's strategically thinking about, how do I actually deliver value regardless of the time frame. So sometimes the client might approach you and say, I'd like to do this with you for a month, but you genuinely believe that for you to get maximum value, you need to do something that's longer or more long-term. So that's strategic thinking around what is the client trying to achieve, and what do I need to do, and for how long for me to be able to deliver that for them. So for me, in conclusion, if I look at the creator industry today, it's almost like a crossover of a phase or a generation. We've come off the phase where we had, say, early adopters when it comes to the creator industry, where businesses or brands would just look for who has the most influence, who has a bigger audience, that's who we want to work with, to a point where I think with the Gen Z generation, a bigger percentage of them are adopting content creation, whether full-time or part-time. They're doing it and they're doing a pretty good job. So essentially, we're going to get to a point where there'll be more supply than demand. What does that mean? You have a lot of creators to choose, but then there are very few brands that are able to work with those creators. So then in that case, how do you stand out? It just goes back to, regardless of the size of your audience, what level of influence do you have? Are you authentic with whatever you stand for, whatever products or services that you're talking about on your platform? Like what is your theme? What do people know you for? And the easy exercise I give everyone is, if you call out creator names today, call out 10 creator names, what would people say? If 80% of the people say one thing, then there's something that you stand for. There's something that people know you for. But then if all the 10 people are saying 10 things, then you probably need to go back to the drawing board.